Oh boy, finally done with the Eccleboy ecology and helping out on some Meat Canyon tunes. It's time to start the Smaugust video.
Oh my goodness!
2 months went by insanely fast. I was working on commissions and helping out on the designs for the Duolingo bird and on the Tarktua monster. My god. I also had the pleasure on working on a third Meat Canyon tune, but it's not out yet, so be patient. On the side I was creating the Eccleboy bestiary and I'm very glad many of you liked it. So you might ask yourself, what is Smaugust? It's a monthly challenge like Inktober and consists out of 2 words. The first word is Smaugust, the dragon from Tolkien's book The Hobbit, and the other word is the month, so it's August. Mixing that together gives us the word Smaugust. I used the Smaugust circle created by many cool creature artists, some who even create YouTube videos, like Hudzillian, who has also videos on his own Smaugust adventure, and Sawyer Lee, the creator of the fantastic Dragon Slayer Codex. Please check them out if you don't have already. I was a little bit nervous because I always start these challenges and fail after 3 days. I just immediately stop. But not this time. I figured out a square will be my canvas size and I will color the sketches and try to not to do many concepts. But yeah, I guess enough said, let us begin.
Hey, just wondering if you got your photos printed?
Logos minted?
What?
I had a clear idea in my mind, making a classic H.R. Geiger alien, made by this silly stairs enjoying mastermind. I was struggling at first getting the right head shape, but at the 3rd try I got one that I really liked and I changed just the body type, still keeping the wyvern body, but making it a little bit more bulkier, standing on his hind legs, and I feel he turned out nicely. I like the spikes on the tail and the small little arms, but there is nothing groundbreaking in this design. The big ocean. My biggest fear, fuck this place. I love how cool it is, if it wasn't so goddamn deep and endless. I wanted something dangerous for this dragon, or should I say drake. I used the Man of War jellyfish as my Oceanic creature inspiration, and I referenced some Komodo dragons too. I made the stinging tendrils of the jellyfish into a beard and colored him nicely, and for some reason I textured the whole thing and it was kinda a waste of time. I would say that this design is not the greatest. I could be more creative by using more elements of the jellyfish for this drake. Penguins have very scary beaks and I wanted this one to have one too. I immediately enjoyed the head tilt and the shape. I went for a more generic wyvern look and made it very angular and sharp. I used the colors of the king penguin and I really like this design, but I also think there's some room for improvement. Day 4, Plausible. I think the idea was to make a dragon that could possibly work in our world. So my plan was to make a herbivore Komodo turtle lizard with a heavy fat storing tail and spikes for defense. I used turtles and Komodos to design this one, making him also stand on his hind legs to show that he can reach higher up plants if he needs to. The design is fine, nothing groundbreaking if you ask me. I really didn't want to sketch feathers, so my lazy-ass brain decided to make a naked ugly bird and put 3 very colorful feathers on top. These bat wings look so out of place, I honestly hate it, but in general, he's fine, nothing too crazy.
This edible ain't shit.
I had many concepts planned out in my head, but somehow the designs just weren't coming out how I would like them to be. I wanted to make a skate/ray dragon and decided on the colors instantly, but man, this head blows mega dick. I really don't like it. If I would make this guy again, I would focus more on the head shape and fold the wings in and use something else than a Komodo body type. I use this one way too much. And yeah, the wings are cut off because of the square canvas size. Making some Cthulhu Dragon sketches, I had a random idea. What if I sketched arms, legs, and some tentacle wings and split the tail in two, so I have 8 fake tentacles and the body would mimic a red octopus. I even painted a false eye on his back to solidify this idea even more. I think this guy turned out pretty well. Maybe having more time to design a more interesting head and body shape, and that would elevate the concept even more. My favorite anime when I was a wee little lad. The first episode in Germany came out in August 2000 when I was only 4 years old, but holy shit, Greymon just stuck in my brain since then. You know what's cooler than Greymon? It's Skull Greymon. I haven't sketched this guy in decades, so I still love his design, and a fucking bioatomic rocket, it's just the craziest design. I changed barely nothing on the design, so it was just nice to sketch, turn off the brain, and enjoy the process. You know what's creamy and gets hard if you make it hot? A delicious creme brulee. And what has the same color? Yes, a slug. I don't know why, but I just wanted to make a creamy, drippy slug sauropod. That's kinda it. I would say this design has a lot of potential to be way cooler, but I didn't have a lot of time doing those.
Oh, I remember World War II like it was 70 years ago.
Looking back at early dragon depictions, we always had like classic green dragons with red wings, and some of them had even like lion manes, snake heads, and horns of a bull. So I took all of that and made it my own old classy looking vintage dragon. I would say the design is fine. Again, old generic tropes of green dragon, but I feel like he looks very cute. I don't know why. He's a cutie. The first idea was to make a dragon that mimics a human woman with its tail. But I think this concept is a little bit overused, so I wanted to make a small dragon that tries to resemble a giant toad with teeth and a big maw. And using its tail to mimic the tongue, even though it's not coming out of the maw itself. If you squint, put a bit of sand into your eyes and drink a bottle of tequila, you maybe can see a frog. I think he looks okay. A little bit of like environment to show his scale would help even more. I feel like this design looks big, even though it should kind of look small. Ooh, 12 days in, and I really was struggling with this word. I was so surprised that I sucked at this word. My undead dragon should have resembled the shroom called a dead man's finger, but holy, this design really blows. I don't like it at all. I don't even want to look at this anymore. Why yellow stripes? Why the weird uplifting pose? I guess it was just maybe a bad day to draw. As you can hear, English is not my first language, it's not even my second, so googling what Ironclad was, I only got ships, and that shit just confused me even more. So I was thinking, okay, this word just means a thing that is armored and tanky, so I sketched a bug dragon with a mighty tail and wings being used as shovels and shields. I honestly like the thin and weak looking legs. I'm gonna try to integrate them into another creature design, maybe. Is it a good design in general? I don't think so. Could be better. 2 weeks in and I noticed that my mood dropped and I also didn't like the designs, or I wasn't feeling the final pieces how they looked. My friend pointed out that I got way too clean with my sketches and this just unlocked my stupid brain again. So I just started sketching and not minding the time, even shading in the process, and with that approach I also forgot to copy my layers and I did everything in one go. I looked at one of my favorite games, Bloodborne, for the aesthetic, the design. The amygdala was a huge inspiration for me. I liked how this turned out. There's some improvement I need to change, but I kinda like the idea of a fetus connecting to this giant dragon. For a one and done design, it turned out great. The idea was to make a giant pelican wyvern that catches lightning like a pelican would catch fish, giving him big wings to sail into the skies high up into the storms. I'm still learning how to design wings, and big ones are still very difficult for me, I tell you. But he turned out nicely. I also stopped using the rim light and made all the sketches look flat for some reason. Maybe I just need to learn a little bit more how to rim light 2D sketches better. I really like the soft colors of ivory and the high contrast of the turquoise, because I already did a design that used the same colors. But yeah, for this Tempest Lord, I would change the wings again, but I feel like having a pelican wyvern is a funny idea. Friday was really nice, and I had an excuse to paint my whale wyvern, the Bohorbo. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone, working on Titans of Tersa and Smaugust at the same time. Here you can also see the ivory turquoise mix again. I already painted this big guy and I just wanted him to have a high stance where he gets ready to blast you with a lethal sonar pulse. For the design, what can I say? I already did concepts, he is already done, he's perfect.
That's a bug! That's a bug! That is a bug!
I love giant isopods. They're like cute and freaky at the same time, like giant insect babies. My first idea was to make this guy into a tanky drake, but then I switched for like a 4-armed predator dragon. One thing that bothered me with this design, it's the kung fu-like stance that he has. It kinda puts me off every time. For the design, I would say I needed to lean more into the plating aspect and design the claws a little bit better. I would say he's very fantastical, like more of a cartoonish creature design for a less grounded environment. Another stone to kill 2 birds. I took the opportunity, instead of painting a dragon made out of plants, to work more on my world building project. And I sketched some more Ecclebows that got into my recent video. Feel free to check it out if you are interested how this creature hunter lives and survives in the frosty mountains of Tersa.
Congratulations, Mr. Krabs.
Hello! I like money!
My immediate impulse was to make an oily color / texture for this prompt. The first sketch was a basic dragon. I looked at fishes covered in oil spills and I had the idea to make a fish wyvern like the Plesioth from Monster Hunter, but with the gimmick to spill oil all around to make you trip and fall. Making this color shift, by the way, was painful and I had a lot of trouble, but it looks okay. Now looking at it, I should have made the wing size bigger to have like a small, medium, large balance, because the wing and the back fin are the same size and that really bothers me. Also, I should have made cooler designs for the legs. I feel like the legs are not fitting that creature too much. After exploring cows and bisons for the Mladhart's design, I was kinda excited to make a bovine, but it turned out horrible. The first sketches were just heads and body shapes. I decided to make him walk on his wing knuckles and made the wings slowly devolve back to be useless. This was the only good idea, but the whole design just missed big time. The giant metal plates on the face and the horns are boring. Maybe the orange fur is nice, but I'm not too proud of this one. So the word was Basal, and the only thing I found was a layer of earth and ground. I don't know if it was a typo, but I rolled with it and I was thinking to make a creature that uses the flat area of its head to function like a trapdoor spider. But I abandoned that idea and made an excavator T-Rex instead, giving him a shovel-like chin and claws to dig. Not a big fan of the final design, but I already was 2 days behind. So I haven't had time to play around with different concepts.
Want 'em crispy?
I wanted to make something small or medium-sized, and I looked at gas cutters at the same time. That combination turned into a dragon that has heat vents underneath its wings, giving it uplift if it's in the air, because warm air rises up. The idea also was that the creature uses the plasma cutting to dig holes, so I went for a mole head design. For the color, I randomly stumbled on oxidized copper, and I was thinking that was fitting the plasma aesthetic and the gas cutter. The design is fine, but I think the mole head has some potential for future designs. I love blind creatures. They are very freaky, and it makes you really think how those little creatures can navigate in the dark. I'm sorry. Kazu definitely inspired me for this piece. In my opinion, one of Capcom's best wyvern designs to this day. I also looked at Alm's blind aquatic cave dwellers. I used its bright pink color to indicate poisonous barbs at the end of the tail and gave him way too many spikes, way too many. It looks good, but nothing too interesting.
That Lyle's last words will be him looking into a cup and looking up and saying, "Poison!"
I was sitting in a call and sketched a viper head, but I had the idea, instead of having venomous fangs, what if the creature applies its venom like a hunter uses poisonous dart frogs to apply poison onto its arrows or darts, onto its front horn. So I just started sketching and I didn't copy any progress. The wyvern turned out quite boring and generic for some reason. The venom horn is still a nice idea, but the rest needs way more work. The colors are also a bit wild. I feel like his design is all over the place. I can pinpoint what is wrong with this one. For this design, I want the horns to grow into a circle like a black hole, mimicking the visuals and colors. I sketched some heads, but as you can see, my brain was not working well. I somehow took so long for these shitty sketches and said fuck it, I gotta take a black Diablos for the body. The finished design looks mid at best, but I still was 3 days behind, so I called this one done and continued. The first idea was to make a dragon that uses its wings like 2 big lances. But then I had the idea for broken wings that act like war banners and growing into 2 big curved swords. For the head I used a salad helmet. I love these helmets, they look always great. And made the end of the tail into a club. I also wanted a rusting color scheme for the dragon. He looks very fantastical, I like it. Especially the scales on its arms and tail. They flow nicely into each other and just looks very pleasing. Briar, what a word. I had no fucking idea for this one. Something thorny like a prickly fruit or a rose brush. I sketched a big bulky body and my plan was to make it into a thick spiky neck where the head can hide in. And the whole creature would swing its neck around like a bat. I really don't like what I made here, but again, I was short on time. More beasts from Tersa, and I needed to make the brook tattoo. This was my first carnivore design and I love terror birds. I hope I can make a video for this guy soon. He has some funky ecology going on and the interaction with other beasts in the snowy highlands. This design is quite old. I already have some minor nitpicks, but I will keep it how he is right now. Man, I hated this word, and the final design also sucked. I wanted to do something train looking, but I was thinking why are they not using the word train instead? So, no cheating this time. A Carnotaur dino with a rail pattern on its back. I even reused the black hole chin design again. So fuck this design, scrap it, I hate it so much.
Hamburger, cheeseburger, Big Mac, Whopper, hamburger, cheeseburger, big...
For this one I looked at blind and golden molds and I started to sketch a very bulky design. But something was not deserty enough and I totally forgot about hopping desert mice. So a speedy demon was born in my head and I really enjoyed making this one. I still don't know if this thing is blind or the skin flaps are just covering their eyes, but I can say I will reuse this design in my world building project. The small tufts of fur, the very strong club-like tail, and the whole nature of this thing having just a giant maw and a very elongated, agile body shape. One of my favorite designs from this challenge. Ah, the final one. I personally love the look of leeches and mosquitoes, and I made already so many mosquito inspired designs. Even the first sketch was just a dragon version of my mosquito human mutants. I wanted this last one to be a cool looking elder dragon tier design. So the posture was important too. I settled on a hunch posture and I used the fat and flat elements of the leech for its neck and tail, and also the mouth. Used the mosquito proboscis as its horn and the eyes to make it look more mosquito-like. I love how this guy turned out. I think there's some more room for a better design, but nonetheless I'm very happy with the final design, and I'm also very happy that the Smaugust challenge was finally over. So, all done, 31 days done. I was a bit behind, like 3 or 4 days, but I finished this challenge. This was my first one that I ever finished, and I think the last one for a long time. I learned a lot how fast and how slow I am at certain areas in terms of color and line work, but most of these sketches turned out great. There are not illustrations in my opinion, there are still sketches for me. I had a stream where I was ranking my designs and also had my Twitch chat rank them separately. So these are my rankings. I maybe would move some of them up or down now after 2 months of not looking at them, but I'm still enjoying every design in S tier. And these are the votes from my Twitch chat, way nicer and less critical than me. Still don't know why the Arthropod got into S tier and the Undead and the Rail one are at the same tier as Skullgreymon, but that is it for now. The next video will be about another ecology video. You can still vote on my Discord server, the link is below, who will be next. I guess there are 1 or 2 days left after this video comes out. And this time I hope I will not take 3 months to make one ecology video. Thanks again for watching, and thanks to all my supporters on Ko-fi. Urged, Pislow Wizard, Emric, Voidbrush, Drez, Risen Demon 64 and Professor Oaks. You guys are pretty cool, not gonna lie. Alrighty then, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.